Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Preble Town Board meeting of July 9th, 2018. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes of June 11th?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. We have a guest speaker tonight, but I don't think she's here quite yet. Amy Olney? She's not here. Okay, we'll go back to her when she comes. Jane?
The dog report, 2 dogs running at large picked up. One dog was unwanted, and 125 miles traveled for the town. Justice report, $13,983 submitted to the town for June.
Thanks, Jane. Jeff, highway report?
You got the copy of the report. Pretty self-explanatory. You got the things that are related to the meeting that we need to discuss that are in the whole business.
So we'll talk about the 284U agreement.
Yep.
And
And the plow contract
Okay,
and Outback.
okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Jeff. Recreation,
I know some of it.
you want to give a presentation or you want to wait?
We can wait.
We'll
And
wait.
If not, I can fill you in
Okay.
on what I do know.
All right. That's good. Thanks, Nancy. County Legislature, Don is not here. James?
Zoning and code, 4 building permits issued, 94 miles traveled for the town, 22 building inspections, 43 hours worked, 2 fire inspections, 4 complaint follow-ups, and 26 telephone inquiries. Planning board meeting is July 25th at 7 o'clock. That's Wednesday. ZBA meeting is August 5th, 7:30 on a Thursday.
Thanks, Jane. Our historian, Ann Henderson, is not here.
We collected fees of $506, dispersed $488 to the town of Preble and 18 to New York State Egg and Market.
Thanks, Jane. Okay, we'll get right into unfinished business. First item is the solar law. And we've been, Don and I have been discussing that, and Joe Heath and Amy have comments too. It looks like we'll be postponing any action on this for right now because the committee has to get together again to tie up some loose ends. Amy, is anything you want to say?
No, that's
Okay.
fine.
Okay. Don, anything you want to say?
If I might,
Yeah,
just
go
very quickly. Number one, our moratorium will expire in September.
Mm-hmm.
Can't tell you the exact date, whether it's just prior to or after our September meeting, but it was enacted in March,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a 6-month time period. So just to keep that in mind. And then, I talked to Jim a little bit about this. In addition to the solar law, there's other changes that this proposed law affects on the ordinance. And the one thing I wanted to point out is the minimum lot size. And Amy, I'd love to hear from you on this. My perception is, I haven't specifically talked to Amy about this, but our minimum lot sizes vary from 1 acre to 2 acre.
I think, isn't it countywide? I think.
Yeah, but our town
Oh, the town.
minimum
Right.
lot sizes right now. Okay. And I think ag district, it might be a minimum of 2 acres. I think in an R1 and or an R1L, it's 1 acre. What Amy's committee has suggested is that all minimum lot size in the township be 2.44 acres. And where that comes from, and you may recall that we've had that issue come up on occasion before, there is a little bit of a disconnect between what our local law says and what the county health department says. There's a county law that requires building lots to have a minimum 2.44 acre size to build on. And that's to allow not only room for a leach field, but also for a replacement leach field. That's my understanding. Now, so in a sense, it does make sense to move our minimums to 2.44. But understand, and it's come up, I was reminded of this. I talked to Mike Ryan last week on a situation I've got where the people have a 1.77 acre parcel. And first of all, there's a question of grandfathering. Well, if that 1.77 acre parcel was in place before they enacted that county local law, is there a grandfathering? But second, there's a waiver procedure that you can apply to the health department to waive the 2.44 acre minimum lot size. Now, I guess what I want to point out is if we, and I'm not on either side of this issue, I just want to make you aware of it. If we enact a minimum 2.44 acre building lot size, if someone has a 2 acre parcel or a 1.5 acre parcel, they would have to apply for a bulk variance under our law and get the variance by the health department. And if we do it right, variances shouldn't be granted that often at the local level. Getting the waiver is not that difficult. It's an entirely different standard. And I guess my point is, in a sense, if we leave our minimums as they are, yes, there is a difference between the county and ours, but all that means is, and I guess the question to you is, are we satisfied with these minimum sizes that we now have, or do we want to expand them? And if we're satisfied with those minimum sizes, still the person will have to apply for a waiver from the health department to get approval to put their septic permit in. But if they can satisfy the health department that there's room for a couple septic fields and there's room between those areas and where they would put the well, they can get the waiver. So maybe it doesn't add up to that much, but there is a difference. And again, if it's dry land and situated stuff, it may be such that it may be fairly easy for the 1.5 acre parcel owner to get permission from the health department. Whereas if we have a minimum lot size of 2.44, they're going to have to go through a variance procedure before the ZBA. And I don't know, Dan likes work, but it may generate a decent amount of more work for the ZBA, which may be fine.
So I think this raises kind of a troubling issue, is that we're tasked with working on a solar law within the context of our existing zoning ordinance, right? And so I'm concerned that if we start kind of making other changes that aren't directly required by solar, that's where I hear distrust coming from the citizens. You know, hey, you guys are trying to sneak something by us, right? Because we thought you were talking about solar, and now all of a sudden you're changing the minimum lot sizes. Yeah. And why? So I would really like to encourage the committee to separate the other set of changes. And if we need to consider those first, so that they can then, you know, like, we really can't do a solar law unless you make these 6 changes to the zoning code. Great, let's have that conversation. Let's be open to the public about it, so they know what's coming and why we're doing it. And then let's make the change to with solar. Let's not try and do them both at once, because that's when people get upset and confused. And I'm one of them, you know, quite frankly, that gets upset and confused because, wait, I thought we were talking about solar. Now you're talking about minimum lot sizes and health department requirements. How do those two things go together? I mean, obviously not at you. I'm just saying. You know.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I've had some of that conversation with Amy, and I know she's been sensitive to that same point.
Right.
She didn't want to go beyond what you guys have charged them with. I think these things have come up in the course of their discussions.
May I say something? The reason we're changing through the districts is because if we're making the change, we have to make it for solar anyway. So we were just including lot sizes so we can do it in one fell swoop. But if you're not comfortable with that, that's okay. But we
Well-
have to change, but certain systems are allowed in certain districts, so we had to change the ordinance anyway. And we thought we'd do everything at one time. But if you're not comfortable, we can.
Well, so that's where I'm saying,
Yeah.
let's bring those as a separate action, and if they need to come before, first, and then do the solar right behind it, that makes good sense. I'm not against you making those changes. I'm just saying, when we bundle them all together, people, unless, we need to go through and explain the whole thing to people. And then they're getting 2 or 3 different issues mixed together and griping about it. I mean, that's just my opinion,
Yeah.
one guy's opinion.
And I think most municipalities in the county have adopted the county regulations 2.4. This probably, and you're right, Dan told us that, so I think it's probably why we included that. I have no problem not doing that. It was just trying to conform with the rest of the county, but that's fine.
Okay. Anything else, Don?
I'll just distribute another version. We're trying to make it clear as to what sections are being changed. So it's kind of tedious.
It's boring.
Okay, it's kind of monotonous, but if you have a copy of the zoning ordinance and you go back and forth between what sections are being changed, because there's definitions that are being inserted too, I think it's helpful.
Okay. So you have copies for all of us?
Yes.
Thanks, Don. Anybody else have any questions on this topic? Otherwise, we're going to let the committee get together and come back with revised draft. Okay, so next item is the website. Don?
So I've got 3 vendors that we've identified, and I've issued an RFI. I'm getting responses to the RFI, which kind of describes the project in general and asks them for information on their qualifications and so forth. I expect to have that information back within the next 2 weeks, and then at that point, we can issue an RFP and get specific quotes.
Okay.
And I view the RFP as going to be fairly lightweight. I mean, we're not going through a formal process because the project's so small. But I mean, it will be open. I'll be happy to share who I'm sending to. If somebody else would like to get the RFP, we can get that. I've got, and then the goal is to have the project completed by the end of September.
Okay. And what is Sue's status right now?
So I think she views herself as off of the project. So she hasn't really been doing anything or responsible.
So our website is not
It's
being
pretty
maintained
static.
right
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Okay.
So I'll put some of the content up on it that we've got, some of the estimates and stuff.
Okay.
And then we'll limp along for.
Also, the other thing I've been talking to Sue about, and it's just an ongoing bugaboo for me, is just to keep up with the seasonality of pictures
Sure.
on the homepage. Sure. To have a picture that's 6 months old,
Right.
from last
Well, it's
fall.
Memorial Day. So it's
Oh,
up
yeah.
there.
Yeah, Memorial Day is come and gone.
Right, right.
It's over a month old, so we should change it to something more
Sure.
seasonal. And we have a whole inventory now of photos that people have taken, and it'd be very easy just to take a picture and say this is seasonal for now. And so if we could try to change once a month,
Sure.
that would be good.
Mhm.
Okay.
Jim,
Yes.
he's here.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, so we can continue with unfinished business, or we can let Amy speak. I think maybe are you ready to speak?
Sure.
Okay, so we have with us Amy Olney from Farmland Protection, and she's going to talk to us about the New York Agricultural Land Trust for an applicant who has filed for it. Amy, you're up.
Sure. So I'm Amy Olney. I'm the director of the New York Agricultural Land Trust. And we're partnering with the Cortland County,
Can you come up here?
the Cortland County Farmland Protection Board to submit applications for this round of the state's Farmland Protection Implementation Grant Program. So in the past, the program funds purchase of development rights on viable agricultural land throughout the state. And an applicant, a farm, needs to partner with an eligible applicant, and one of those is a land trust. And that's our role in this project. And Cortland County reviewed applications from different farms in the area, and the Preble Hill Farms, the Griswold family property was selected by the county, and we are partnering with them to submit an application. The application also requires municipal support in order to be submitted to the state, and so we're here to request support for the project. They have applied in the past and received town support for that. Previously.
We've done farmland protection programs for other projects, well, probably 8 or 9 years ago, right? Almost 10 years ago.
Been a while.
10 years ago, I think. And so we're not really up to date with all the rules and regs for that, so you're going to have to help us along with that.
Sure. So conservation easement is basically an agreement between a landowner and, in this case, the land trust, in which they agree to give up certain rights on their property. And in this case, that would be the right to sort of develop that into multiple residential units or commercial units. So they would maintain the use of the farm for agriculture or forestry, basically using it the way that they are now, but not the ability to create multiple residential or commercial development in the future. The agreement is in perpetuity, and it's a land trust our requirement to steward that and ensure that it maintains.
Is there anything you would like the board to do at this time?
If you have questions, that would be great. We do, in order to submit the application, we would need either a resolution or a letter of support from the town board.
So the resolution will be worded like what?
That you support our application. This is in line with your comprehensive plan. It is also over the Cortland Homer Preble aquifer, which is the sole source aquifer, which is identified in your comprehensive plan as being important for protection, as well as the prime agricultural soils. The property in question has 91% prime and statewide soils for agriculture. It's 83% in active ag at this point in time.
Okay.
Got all that, Jane?
No.
So we need to make a motion to support the application, the farmland protection application for Preble Hill Farms to move forward with that application, right?
For the New York State Farmland Protection Implementation Grant.
Okay. So we need to make a motion for that. You can
I'll
say
make,
so
I'll
move.
make, I'll make a motion on what you just said.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, so now that we've blessed this, so to speak, how often will we be in contact with you or meeting with you? How often will you be coming to our board meetings to update us?
That would be up to you. This is the only motion or action that we would need from the town. But I'm happy to update you on the progress of the project. Generally speaking, right now we have a deadline of August 31st to submit the application. We would anticipate announcements they're saying are going to come in December, so we would know whether or not the project was funded at that point.
Okay.
Kind of from that point, it's sort of a 2-year process of going through this.
Yeah, as I remember, it's a long process.
It's a long drawn-out process.
Yeah. Okay, so this will get us started.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you so much for coming. Renee? Can you speak up a little bit?
I'm just curious. I have a home that's in the middle of like 14 or 15 acres that they own. So I'm just curious where this property is. If it's, because my land's been surveyed around me, so I'm curious if it's like bordering my property.
I have a map here.
Yeah, that's not something that we have to concern ourselves with. So we'll move along. Don, glad you showed up today. You want to give us a report?
Yeah, I'll give you a report. As you know, our
Yeah, I don't
highway
have it.
superintendent, he has resigned, I believe, for early retirement. He did put a statement in the paper, which I believe all of you have read probably. Okay, so we're looking for a good highway superintendent. In case you want to sign up, Jim, that'd be great.
It's not my field.
Okay. Dave approached me the other day and wanted to have cost accounting to how much the county had put out for overtime pay. I did come up with that number that we spent for 2017 for overtime for the full county. I didn't break it down by department to department because that would, I'd still be doing it, okay? It's $1,253,784.13. That's what the county expended for 2017 overtime.
Okay. You asked that question? Oh,
No,
Dave Morris.
Dave Morris.
Okay.
asked
He's
me
not
that
here
question.
tonight to follow that up. I don't know what his reason was for asking that, but if he was here, we could maybe discuss it, but
Okay, well, you can discuss it later if you
Mhm.
want.
yeah,
I can leave that number with you. if you would
okay.
like
I,
it.
I wrote it down.
Me too.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Would you like to, somebody like it? All right. Okay. The other thing I want to report is I've done a review of the recycling center here just lately of what it's cost us so far to operate the recycling center. Okay, so far this year, we have spent $163,000. The June bills have not come in yet. And there's been no income reported since January. So basically, everything that we're making is going to pay our threshold cost. Plus, if it's not bringing the full $85, we have to make up the difference on top of that. So I can't tell you how much we're making up the difference on. I'll know that tomorrow when he gives his report. Okay, but as I say, June numbers aren't coming in. Myself, I'm not too satisfied with those numbers. I think we're going to be probably between $400,000 and $500,000 in the red this year. That's my opinion. We've exhausted already 74% of our budget for this year. So we're going to be asking for more money to continue the rest of the year. It's a difficult question to ask, but I kind of need some input or information from my two towns. Is this acceptable to you? Just to write it off as business as usual to continue down this path? Or do you want it kind of as a standalone, that it should at least cover its own expense of operation? Or
Don, what would be the alternative to the way we're doing it right now?
the way we're doing it right now is single stream. Okay. Went to Madison County. They do their own sorting. They did a check on single stream. They said they'd lose money at it. They couldn't afford to go single stream. They're recycling stuff that we're not recycling. I mean, they recycle your pop cans and stuff. Okay, those that are thrown in with the recycling, they take them to the redemption center. Okay, farm plastics, they recycle that. They recycle styrofoam. Okay, they bring it down into little boxes.
And we're not recycling those
We're not
products
doing none of that stuff. There's a lot of things that
because it
we're
would
not
cost
recycling.
more to do that.
What's that?
Because it would cost more to do that?
They just don't do it at the Smurf.
Oh.
They do it. They have a market that they can't fill. And we're not doing it at all. So, you know, there's a lot of things that probably we could be doing and aren't, that they're not doing.
What does Okra do?
Okra,
Yeah.
they recycle everything they can recycle. And of course, they have the incinerator up there, that stuff that doesn't bring any money, that is not worth their time to sort. They run it through their incinerator.
Don, excuse me, this is Madison County, you said?
Madison County, yeah.
So what's their budget numbers like? Are they,
I
obviously
haven't
they're,
received those yet. They're supposed to be sending me their budget numbers and stuff. They do it somewhat differently. They combine it as a solid waste operation in total. So they don't really separate the recycling part from their landfill. Okay. If they need to raise their cost to make things meet, they raise their tipping fees. Okay. But they also recycle everything they can get their hands on to lower that footprint of the solid waste and work toward a zero waste system.
Right.
Okay. They hire a separate outfit that comes in and does the sorting. Okay, I think they call it ACI that they deal with.
is
They
this
work
a,
with disabled vets.
I was going to
people
say,
with
it's a
disabilities
sheltered workshop
and
or
those
something?
things, yeah. To do their actual sorting. Everything that they sort out is picked up FOB on the trailer. They do not do any trucking, so they don't have any cost of trucking costs or any of that. So they do all their own marketing. We don't do that. That's all done at your.
Is Madison County coming out in the black on their program?
On their overall program, I think they're pretty much at a break even.
Okay. So I think that Cortland County should look at what other counties are doing, like Madison County, and use them as a model and do what they do.
Well, we're in luck because the coordinator and manager of, not the coordinator, the manager of that is retiring with 35 years worth of experience. He's been asked to come down and speak with us and talk about their overall operation, and he's willing to do that. So hopefully we can get him down here very, very soon and have that discussion. I feel we need to do something. We can't afford these kind of deficits.
Right. I think there's always a better way of doing things.
Yeah, I think there is.
If you just if some effort is applied towards doing it better.
So they recycle anything they recycle. They recycle.
Yeah.
Like if the price of cardboard goes down and paper goes up, okay, they mix it. If it's just paper goes up and or paper goes down and cardboard is down also, they mix the two. They have somebody that wants that. They have a market for mixed that will pay a premium for mixed. So then they mix it. So they do all kinds of different things that we don't do. They take advantage of their grant program, which we haven't been taking advantage of our grant program for years.
I don't know why Cortland County can't do these things.
Got to get somebody to write the grant. Okay. We had 2 administrators that didn't write any grants.
Don, do they have a facility that we can't duplicate? In other words, to store this stuff if, a certain market is not up. So do they have a facility that's large enough to be able to do that we don't have ourselves?
They have a facility basically about the same size as ours, maybe even be a little bit smaller.
So,
and they play the market. Price goes up. Okay, they send it. Price goes down. They hold it. We have facility enough to do that. Okay. The other thing that's my concern is we still have a bond on the equipment that's in that recycling center. Okay, that we're not using.
So we're paying interest on equipment that we're not
paying
using.
Interest on equipment that should have been paid off a long time ago. And it's sitting there doing absolutely nothing. We have a sorting table. We have conveyors. We have everything but the baler that we've allowed to sell it to use. They said they'd collect batteries if we let them use the baler, which was basically wore out anyway, so they had to rebuild it. So it was an advantage to us at that point if we're gonna go single stream.
But we did sorting at one time, correct?
Yes, we did.
So we failed at it then? I mean,
I don't know if we really failed at it. I've been trying to look back to see exactly what happened, why we quit. We went to the Murray Center, okay? I guess we were losing money at that point, but nothing to this extent.
so you were making money in relation to where we are today.
Oh, yeah.
I think our board is in agreement. Something has to be done. That's recycling is a valuable service that should be done.
I agree.
We can't abandon it, or somebody's got to do it.
Well, you don't
You know?
have to. I mean, there's a variance or a waiver that you can apply for. Okay? It may be granted to you, it might not.
You're saying that
That even if we quit, Jim, recycling wouldn't quit because you've got Leach it's recycling, you got Adams it's recycling. They got their own recycling centers. You got Blue Moose. Okay, they do all their own recycling, and what they do is skim the top, the stuff that's worth something, and they bring the rest of it down to us. Okay, so I don't know what the answer is to that. And now we put in flow control, you know, even if they bring it all to us, which will increase our volume, which I was hoping would increase our volume, so we would begin to make extra money on our recyclables. But that's not happening. It is increasing the volume at the landfill. So more stuff is coming up there.
So flow control requires them to bring the recyclables to the county too?
Yep. But the main problem, as you all know, with your flow control is how do you manage it? Who's going to oversee to it that everybody brings, you know, the stuff isn't escaping out? Madison County, they have flow control, and they have a retired sheriff that he does this for them.
Well, maybe you can ask the person from Madison County who's going to give you a presentation to, you know, give us some recommendations on what we should do as a county.
Yeah, that's why we're having him down, give us some recommendations.
And then you can report back to us and we can listen to some of those recommendations.
Sure.
Not that we have the final answer to all these problems, but,
Right.
you know, we are concerned about these issues.
Well, I figured you would be, so that's why I'm recording.
Okay. On another topic, how is our sales tax going right now? I heard it's down for the year.
Well, it was down. Your report hadn't come in yet, so we'll be getting that very, very shortly here within the next, I think, about a week, 10 days. And we'll know whether it's up or whether it's still down.
Okay.
Okay. Hopefully, it's up.
Right. Right.
We need something that's up, right? So.
Anything else you have for us, Don?
No, I think that's about it.
Okay.
I think that'll be a headache enough for you for tonight, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's a silver lining to the recycling, isn't there? If we got our act together, I mean,
I think, yes.
there is potential.
Yes.
I think maybe we need somebody managing it.
Why not? There's
I
no
think we need a
responsible for it.
coordinator. That's been on the list. But they've been reluctant to hire a coordinator. I think that's part of it. But I mean, if you're not going to market the stuff yourself, I don't know if Casella is going to work with a county coordinator
Right.
to do the marketing and educational part and all that
Right.
for you.
That's another wrinkle.
That's another wrinkle.
Yeah. Okay.
So right now, we're looking at Chemung County's contract they have with them, with Casella. They do single stream. But what they're doing is entirely different than what we're doing.
Mhm.
Theirs is a partnership situation
Mhm.
where they're not only doing recycling, but they're doing landfill too. But the recycling part of it, they do have a county manager, manages the recycling center. They hire their own trucking. The other thing that's of concern to me that others do is that nothing's weighed in and nothing's weighed out. We don't know what the weights are, other than what Casella sent us and said this is what came to them. I think that's a bad way to do business. If you knew exactly what was coming in, you would at least have a comparison. We don't have that because they don't use the scales. The scales are there.
It just sounds like nobody at the county level is taking responsibility for this issue. And so it's just kind of left to,
It's been
as a
kind of-
hodgepodge to
kind of
go the way,
sorta-
whatever way it goes.
Right.
Yeah.
So hopefully I
Okay.
can straighten it out. I'm gonna
Mhm.
need some input and help
Okay.
too, so I'm only one guy,
Right.
so
We know that.
I certainly can use your help.
Okay. Thanks, Don.
Yep,
All right.
okay, thanks.
Did Eric know about how to get hold of you today?
No,
Conflict of interest form for the county. Just check with Eric. There's a backside you need to fill out.
okay, 'cause I filled out a
Annual
bunch of stuff
statement.
this morning,
Okay,
so.
maybe you caught you, but,
Okay,
thanks.
yeah. Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, next on unfinished business, the paving town hall parking lot. Jeff, can you give us some ideas on that? On the paving,
what-
the back lot?
Yeah, it's, I gave you some numbers for some budget numbers,
Mhm.
what you wanna do from there.
Mhm.
There's- I've heard different things going on. I've heard grindings, I've heard leave it the same. It's the decision I need to be made at this table right here.
Mhm.
My concern with the grindings is maintenance. You got a postal truck out there twice a day grinding around, turning on them,
Mhm.
and still got to seal the top of them, or else the water's gonna get under it and blow it out all winter.
So
It's not the vehicle either. I mean, you got a lot of people walking to and from their car, and you need to keep it clear. And
what does
that's-
the city decide to do? They're gonna.
Okay,
No.
you ready? They're all ready to do it. They came up, and then the county took that $1.5 million off the top, and I got a call from Chris Pistacchi himself, say, I apologize, because we work good together, said you count. And he says, the mayor said we're to stop all,
Right.
until this all settles out. So we are gonna be able to do that for cost of material. Now you're looking at cost of material, and they had a perfect paper for it. Their little
Right, they're
paper
not
was
gonna, they're not
perfect.
gonna do it. It's far, even though the sales tax thing's been settled, right?
Well, they've reeled all that in, so they're not. So, yeah, that's off the table right now, from what last I've been told. And that would have been perfect. Nice deal for them, for us.
So we don't really have a contractor or vendor to do the job for us.
Well, at that point, through our procurement procedure, you put it out to bid, come up with a spec, and,
Mhm.
get the 3 bids on it.
Right.
With 3 inches of binder and 1.5 inch top, or whatever you wanted to do, and
Mhm.
make sure it was at least apples and apples. Everybody does things a little different as far as what they put in.
Right.
But it'd be,
Mhm.
3 inch compacted to some is 2.5 inches of compacted, it's the lingo, but I think it'd be a place you could go, but my guess is you're probably looking at $24,000 would be my gut feeling.
Mhm.
I'm paying prevailing wage.
Right.
Would be the big thing for day and a half, 2 days for 5-6 guys. So
There is some money in the budget for this building. Every year we put in, I can't remember what the number was, $30-something thousand for, we were going to finish the renovation inside here. So every year we have that on our budget, so we could probably use that money for paving.
Right now out there, it isn't terrible, but spring it's terrible,
Mhm.
mud. Oh, it's. And the other catch is that there's at least 3, technically 4 points that you need to tie in to make the water run where you want it to, preferably away from the building.
Mhm.
At the loading dock height, they keep changing trucks, so they want different heights, but it's going to be picked at one height. You got the back sidewalk, and ideally this emergency exit would all be tied in with the postal boxes, so that you push the water away from the building. It's a lot more to it than paving a driveway,
Right.
Making everything flow.
Well, I think this is what we were worried about when we agreed to let the post office put the boxes back there. Was, were we going to end up improving the property as a consequence?
And we talked about that back then.
Mhm.
Like I said, when it's icy, you put too much salt back there, our normal mix, and it'll make it muddy. So I keep a 5-gallon pail of sand out here just to, my biggest concern, somebody getting out of their car and go whoop, bam. And then you get a phone call. So,
Any questions from the board to Jeff about this project? Tractor project?
Well, I mean, I guess the question is, do we have the money squirreled away somewhere? In some,
Well, there is money
Reserve
in the budget for this building.
Right.
Every year we put it in.
right? Yeah. No, I heard you
So, yeah. So there is some money for that.
Send it out to bid.
Yeah.
See what
Yeah.
it comes.
If we send it out to bid, we're gonna have to be ready to, go ahead if we're gonna ask people to
they
bid
come
on it.
in where you expect them to be.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right, they come in.
And the next thing is it's got to kind of move right along because guys are busy.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You're going to be looking at a fall pave job this
Mhm.
time. You gather up bids. And,
Is that something you could do, Jeff? Is put it out to bid?
and to kind of go along with that, I was thinking today as I was watching the operation up the road.
Get a run at cup.
What's that? Yeah, I was, in years past, we've had a buildings committee, couple board members, and also a highway committee. We haven't done that in a few years. I wonder if there was interest in maybe doing that again, where I could get maybe myself and a couple board members to be on a building committee and or highway committee or
Mhm.
together. So we could look at these things. I mean, there's always something going on.
Mhm.
There's this, that, and the next thing. No different than at home when you got.
So you want 2 board members, right?
Yeah, it
So,
can't be 3 or else it's a meeting.
Right. Right.
So if anybody would be interested in
Mhm.
that, I'd be more than happy to work with some of the board
Okay.
members to maybe get this pushed along.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Okay. You have experience in that.
Yeah.
That's your business.
So
All right.
anybody
And
else,
maybe there'll be somebody else that will step forward too.
I'm looking.
I think between the 4 of us, if someone's not here, that somebody will step forward. So I think we'll have a committee of 3, you, David, and someone else.
Tomorrow good? Let me know, Dave.
Done?
So Jim, you're referring to the funds and either checking or savings for the capital projects hall renovations?
Yes.
Okay.
hmm
Okay.
Every budget year, Gina asked me, "Do you want to leave this in there, or do you want to take it out?" I say, "Well, you can leave it in there because there's always something that comes up."
So we don't regard these as reserve accounts.
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
We might just double check. with
I can
Gina.
ask Gina
Would you?
if we can use
The
that money.
only difference is if it's regarded as like a capital reserve,
Mm-hmm.
you could make the motion to spend as subject to permissive referendum.
Okay.
would be my take.
I'll call Gina. and ask her.
And how much cost are we talking? Is that-
Something,
How much?
20,
Oh, okay.
24 would be my guess.
So we're below the competitive bid, but we do have a procurement policy.
Mhm.
So we've got to make sure we follow that.
Okay. You can get together with Jeff,
Yeah.
and we'll find somebody else to get together with Jeff, and we'll move forward with this. So, let's see, do we need a resolution to go, for Jeff to go out to bid on this? Or should he go out to bid and present the numbers back to the board?
It couldn't hurt, I guess, authorizing him to go ahead and solicit
Mhm.
bids in accordance with our procurement policy for paving in the back.
Okay.
Tried to enunciate Jane on that.
Oh, I will.
No, I'm just kidding.
Somebody want to make
I
that
make a
motion?
motion, Jeff, go and get bids.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, Jeff, we'll continue with that project. See what the numbers come in. Okay, next item, county snow removal. Don, can you talk about that, the contract?
Yeah, I had hoped to call the county today, and I did not.
Okay.
I've not heard a thing. And I guess with maybe the head fellow's announcement that he's retiring or whatever he's doing, resigning, that maybe it's gone on the back burner. I don't know. I can tell you I talked to the Kyler town supervisor, and they've not heard anything.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I mean, I will dog that, but as far as I'm concerned, the ball's in their court.
Right,
But I can
ball's in their
certainly.
court. So we're sitting and waiting. Okay. 284U agreement. Jeff, can you talk to us about
Yeah.
that?
And I gave everybody a copy last month, and that's the same copy in front of you, except the date page on it. Basically, the 284U is an agreement. It's a fluid agreement. It can be changed. And it's basically taking your budget numbers. Many of those numbers, actually all of those numbers, are pulled right out of your budget as far as permanent improvements, general repairs, snow removal. That is all exactly pulled out of the budget. And the only thing that's any different on it is on the bottom and on the back page between roads and equipment. It's just where I intend to put that money. Okay, it's basically information stream between the board and myself. Normally, that would be filled out before that money is spent on such projects. It's a loose agreement. Okay, here's my thing. We got $175,000 from DASNY this year. And it's things like this are what, if you read through different town audits and things that they really want to see. I mean, they've been filled out for years, but not all the times have all the boards signed them. So it's something that when the comptroller's office comes in, you're going to see an audit this next year, would be my gut feeling. Just my experience with different towns and different grants. Whenever you get a grant within a year or two, you'll get an audit. These are the types of things that the comptroller's office looks at.
And this is a document that we sign every year, so this is nothing out of the ordinary.
No. And it's explained as a basic agreement. It can be changed at any board meeting. It can be amended. It's right in highway law, 284 highway law is what it is. Because there, a lot of times you'll have a town board and highway super, and they just don't. Here's this, and this is what's happening. There's no, and this is trying to bridge that connect to try to have a little communication and let you know what's going on. The ironic part of that, the biggest number in there is it's very loose terminology. Okay, your general repairs is for the repair of roads, looshes, culverts, And like that, it can't, there's no specifics in that whole statement, the one, and that's pulled right out of 284 highway law.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
it's ironic that it's the biggest number, it has probably the loosest restrictions on it.
So we need a resolution to sign this. We need the supervisor, and how many people do we need to sign this?
All the board's good, but, majority of the board, and myself sign it. And then
Okay.
And then something change next month, we can amend it, sign it again.
Okay.
So,
So we need a resolution to sign this 284 document.
I'll make a motion that we sign the 284 document for Jeff.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
And ironically, at the bottom of that in bold print,
Mhm.
New York State DOT does not want a copy.
Do not want to. So you put this in your file, right?
Dane has a file, I keep one on hand, and that's,
And if we get audited, you pull this out and you show them. Okay. Okay, good. Moving along, something that's not on the agenda, but I see a letter here we should talk about is the Verizon letter. The letter to us. Don, have you taken a look at this?
I just did when I sat down here tonight. We turned that over to our insurance people.
Mm-hmm.
Is what we ought to do,
Okay.
and see what they do with it. I don't know. Talking about hiring local counsel to sue us for $3,000. Don't know about that. Plus, there's also a notice of claim. You're supposed to you have to file a notice of claim against the municipality within 90 days of an incident. I don't know that they can even bring anything, but be that as it may, this is what we have insurance for.
Mhm.
They should be able to handle that.
Okay. I'll contact Nymer about this.
I mean, they looked at it before. They basically refused coverage, as I recall.
never
But
seen that, I
but
sent it to them.
we should shoot this out to our insurance people and say, hey, are you gonna handle this for us?
Right.
If you would ask them for confirmation on that, if you don't get confirmation or whatever, please let me know.
Mm-hmm.
I think our insurance company sent out the general New York State municipal law as far as, what's coverage, what their liability and ours is within our right of way, which basically, unless it's done, I'm just loosely throwing this out there, but it's got to be intentional basically to have done this. And no part of this was intentional. And so it's, and I told the lady that kept calling me and harassing me last year, Oklahoma. I said, well, if you want to do business in New York State, maybe you should get, understand New York State laws. And she probably didn't like that, but she had a bigger thing hanging on the wall than I had. So
Jeff, have you talked to anyone at Nymer about this?
way back,
Yeah.
a year ago.
Yeah.
But
Okay. I'll talk to.
you,
I'll
we
talk
can
to
scan this, you can, or I can send it out to Mary
Send.
DeSantis out there.
Okay.
That's what you want to do.
We'll,
Get it to them.
we'll get another response from them and see what happens, see where it goes. Okay, one other item. Mike and Homer. Mike, the guy who owns the iron works there.
Mike Park.
Mike Park, right. He called me and he told me that there's a Homer Town Board meeting tomorrow night at 7. I think it starts at 6:30, but this topic will come up at 7, and that is workman's comp. And he would like us to be present with as many people from the board as possible on that. This is something that came up on the spur of the moment, so if you can make it, if you can't make it, I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but he just wanted me to announce that at our board meeting.
Excuse me.
New business, we received $1,771.89 from Northeast Transformers. We received $741.92 from USPS. At this time, I'd like to open the meeting up for public comment. Anybody has?
Someone
Oh,
else.
recreation. Okay, go ahead, Renee.
I have your copies, sir. I can give them to you.
Okay.
Just a quick update, we have $87.18 we collected from TNT for about a collection, bringing us up to about $704 for that. Program starts tomorrow, everything's, in the works. To start with that, looking for a couple of bids to do some concrete work. Got another bid for the doors for the bathroom, waiting on that. What is the policy on the bids? 3 bids if it's over, or does it always have to be 3 bids?
I think $1,000 is the threshold.
The biggest thing is how you get them verbal or
They're written.
written.
They're written.
And I said the shop.
Said the shop, okay.
Yeah, I think it's good to get 3 bids.
Yeah, I have, okay.
Written.
Yeah, they're written.
Yeah.
I have 2 in right now. I do have a couple concerns, and I'm hoping the board can help me with this. I know we have the policy where people put their reservations in for the park. They're supposed to bring James a deposit. I don't know if it's happened in the past, but I'm starting to see things where some of the deposits aren't necessarily coming in, but people still want the park. And they're showing up and asking for the park to be unlocked prior to the reservation time. So if the board can kind of think about, like, do we need to come up with like a contract? How do we want to deal with this? Just a thought, put it in the back burner. We can discuss it later.
I don't want
dealt
this-
with the situation this time. But that's just something we need to.
I hate for this whole process to become more complicated than it should be.
Right.
Contracts and things like that just make it more complicated for everybody. They should give you a deposit. Nobody's going to cash the check
Right.
unless there's damage. So that, it shouldn't be too difficult. It's only $50,
Right.
you know. I think we have to press that, or else it becomes a precedent that you can use the park without a deposit. Word gets around.
So we
I
just
think-
kind of put that on the
Okay, the way I would look at it is, you don't unlock the door unless we get a check for $50,
Yeah. what
and
we
then
did-
somebody will give you a check for $50.
What happened this time is they contacted Hank while he was out
Mhm.
enjoying himself,
Mhm.
and I had it already set up that I would come do it.
Mhm.
So I'm just, put it in the mindset for later on how we want to deal with it
Mhm.
and whatnot. But other than that, things are going smooth with the
Okay.
park. We're making some renovations. We put some sport games in, started
Mhm.
retaining them. So other than that, things are going really well at the park.
Good.
Couple of quick notes. I talked about the contracts coming in. Bathrooms are still being proceeded. So other than that, everything's going well. The only other thing, when we were talking about the website, is contact information on that is still correct if we can get that fixed. In regards to the baseball and softball field wanting to be reserved, it still has Josh Mowers down. I know one of the baseball people contacted you and then a couple people contacted me. So I was wondering,
Send me the info of what it should be.
okay.
Okay.
And then I was just wondering, should we, or a thought process, do we need a calendar for the softball and baseball field so people can look at it to see if it's already reserved?
I think we
Or
should. That
should
should
we
be on the calendar.
interconnect them somehow so people can see if the baseball field is reserved or the softball field?
So why don't you decide what you would like, and then we'll just put that into the RFP.
Okay.
Okay, you missed it, but we're targeting to get it all done by the end of September.
Or
So,
you have 3 in,
yeah, okay.
so, okay.
Yeah, because sometimes I have somebody who calls me or emails me, and they would just like to use the field, and they're wondering if the field is available. And I have a rough idea of who's using it, but I don't have exact dates and everything. So if that could all be on a calendar, then somebody could go to our website and actually look and see if it's available or not.
I think that would help.
Yeah.
We've had a couple comments in
Right?
terms of people wanting to use it,
We have. Okay.
so that
Okay.
would help.
Yeah.
And that things are going
Good.
smooth.
Okay.
I got one.
Yes.
If there's a picnic down there, some family picnic, sometimes it's the farther ball field you're talking about, not the one by the pavilion. Because the one by the pavilion, different parties have small game for themselves.
Mm-hmm. No, we're talking about
The main
the main ball field.
baseball
the
field, not the
baseball field.
softball.
Right.
I've
No?
actually had requests for both of them.
Both of them?
I can't see both of them because if it's a party there, I know I've had parties down there and they've used the softball field altogether. So you gotta reserve both of them. I think if you're reserving it, the farther one is the one. Because I don't want if I'm having a party there, I don't want a whole bunch of kids running around.
Well, if you're having a party at the pavilion, I think the softball field should go with the pavilion. So you have a group that wants to hit baseballs or play baseball, play softball, you should be able to do that at a family gathering. It's, I would think.
That's gonna have to be a town board thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it says the pavilion,
Right.
and I
Right.
know some of the organizations that wanna use it are like Sunday afternoons and have people there that are using the pavilion, so.
Maybe we need a calendar for the softball field.
I think it's useless. Save the softball team for pavilion, because you never know when they're coming out there. They might be out there playing for half an hour and then come back and get something to drink, go back out and play.
Mhm.
Every one that I've been down there to, there's been kids out there on that ball field playing.
Mhm.
That's fine.
It's so close to the pavilion that
Mhm.
I can't see having some stranger come in there.
Mhm.
We can connect them. I can put a note in the email.
That's the way it's
that
been
we're
for
going to
years.
talk about too.
I think the softball field should go with the pavilion.
Mhm.
So
So it sounds like that's just a matter of clarification.
a matter of clarification.
Yeah,
Right.
We can do that, that's
Right.
fine.
Okay. Okay. All right. Anybody else with any questions or comments?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tonight while I was making the copies in here, James' phone rang and somebody was leaving a heated message on your phone, and it was about Otisco Valley Road. And I can't say weekly, but I can say a few times a month I get associated with some poorly, and I probably should have caught this when Don was here. But this gentleman was very, very upset. I picked up your phone, Jane, because he was going off. And
Oh.
I said, I'll handle it before it gets going too far else. But so I've had these for a while actually, but and I don't know how many board members get calls that don't understand county versus the town roads versus other.
I get yelled at all the time about Little York Lake Road.
Oh, geez, yeah, it's
Your fault personally, right?
being 3 days on delivery of a.
I just tell them, keep
Due
the
date.
cars all slow.
But I've got, if any board member or any community member wants, a card I made up quite a while ago, it's a county highway department. I hand these out, the guys carry them, I carry them. It's their phone number, it's their address. And on the other side is New York State DOT. Because right now, getting phone calls on the bump up there by Soup Coat that'll break the springs out of your truck that's bubbled right up in the last few days. And I can do nothing about it but tell them to call. And I used to try to talk to the county and to the state, and I found actually it's better when the citizen calls and it gets me right out of the middle of it.
Mhm.
And because I call a foreman or something, yeah, we'll put it on the list. If you call down there, at least at the county, I'm sure the state does the same thing. They have a book that gets filled out and it goes on that next morning's foreman's, checkout sheet. So, but there's some here, if anybody's interested, that guy was upset. And,
I'm sorry I missed it.
yeah.
Well, the last time I drove on Otisco Valley Road, coming up from the lake, Otisco Valley Road in Portland County was like a washboard.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's terrible. And there was, and somebody put a sign there. This is where Portland County
Highway
starts.
starts.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody wanted to make a point about it.
I'll leave them up here.
Yeah, I would like one of those
Me
too,
too.
But anyways,
so I can direct
it's,
people.
I like those the
it's-
same way.
yeah, it's education. I
Mhm.
mean,
They don't have to build roads.
that's been my last summer when they were tearing Song Lake Road all up.
Mhm.
And they put the gravel down, and then it was the holiday weekend, and they left it dusty. And my phone rang off the hook. And then here I am, have nothing I can do about it, but I've got a black eye over it. And one person, yeah, but you plow it. It's like, holy crap, here I go. Here I'm plowing it for them, and I'm guilty by association in the summer. So, yeah, that Song Lake Road's got some issues going on. Song Mountain, Tisco Valley, Preble Road out through to the old shop. I guess it'd be easier to figure out which. I actually asked Soup Coat, and I'll bring this up quick. The demonstration today from when Ivanka was here was on Patriot Drive. And I asked him, I said, well, could you do up past town, the old town barn, that could use it? And, or as far as I'm concerned, I'll even pass it to the county and do Song Lake Crossing Road, which is terrible in one spot. I just to, help get the road fixed. And Secret Service came back and said, no, I had to be within this parameter. So that's why Patriot Drive was the demo road. It wasn't terrible shape by any means, but it's in better shape now. So, so that didn't cost the town of Preble anything. So that was good.
So that, a couple months ago, when we said if we don't sign the contract with the county, they take better care of our roads? It doesn't sound like they do.
Well, you got that one out the window and the guy, no, because
He left.
Song Lake Road, I don't think they would have done this section of Song Lake where the big whoopies were by Pete Knapp's if it wasn't for that. That was not on their list. And they did that, but they did it to the same level as every other road, to be fair. I mean, and it's, rumor has it they're going back to some other ways. Hopefully it'll work out better.
When they rebuild the roads, they don't have to do them.
Okay, any other questions or comments for the board? Okay. We need a motion to pay the general fund vouchers.
I'll make a motion to pay the general fund vouchers, abstract number 7, numbers 168 to 194, totaling $10,132.30.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Need a motion to pay the highway fund vouchers.
I'll make a motion to pay highway fund vouchers, abstract 7, numbers 49 through 58, totaling $77,644.01.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Need a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Thank you.
Okay, happy reading. David?